Absolutely.
The camera would come across the audience and every face, every jaw was open. They were eating what he was cooking. And that, for me, gave me the inspiration. I thought, look what he's giving to those people.
This is what makes good television, a well-paced programme that ends with a dramatic finale. And it, of course, had that marvellous moment when the credits roll and he literally gallops across the stage to the audience and hauls someone out and they become his partner for the meal. And I think even as a small boy, I used to fantasise that that person might one day be me.
That was it. You know, it was a very strange programme, and kids loved it.
Kerr was one of my biggest inspirations. It would be coming home from school and watch him cook.
Kerr was the one who really sparked it off for me, because suddenly he brought a bit of passion, what I call real passion into it, and he was flamboyant. He had a glass of wine, he dressed in a dinner suit.
We got up to over 400 episodes, and then were hit by a vegetable truck, which my critics would have said was an admirable choice.
The man who was driving the car rushed and pulled us out of the car.
I was partially paralysed down one side. Trina was very traumatised by the whole thing.
When Graham was told by the Scottish doctor, go and get a nice sailboat and go and sail around the world. And so we sailed round the world, and that was the end of the television. Ended in a great big smack.
Fanny Cradock had become a television institution. By the 70s, her new series was being shot at her own home, just outside London.
And so, welcome to our own kitchens at last, instead of studio ones in which we've cooked all these years.
I always watched Fanny Cradock programmes whenever I could, because it was always very, very entertaining. I mean, it was fun to watch.
Come and have a quick glimpse at some of the other we're not going to use. Cupboards, of course.
She was now a celebrity, and like Delia's name today, Fanny's name had become synonymous with food, and her character was just part of the appeal.
And here, the juniors unit, only two of them here at the moment, young Pete, whom you all know.
About 9 o'clock, she come into the kitchen and we were all there shaking in our boots because she was over the top most times. She had to have a row with somebody. If it was one of us, it used to be absolutely horrendous, I must admit. She'd pick on you all day. It was like being at school again, you know, anything you did was wrong.
David? Oh, all right, he's tipped it in. He's very eager.
I think Fanny worked very well on television, in the same way that the two fat ladies did. Wonderfully eccentric, hugely opinionated, and really quite talented.
It's quite clear that she could cook. She wrote a series of novels called The Lawns of Castle Rising, which were interspersed. It had things like William the Conqueror came to the castle and ate tripe à la maid de camp, asterisk, recipe at the bottom of the page. But it's the best recipe for tripe à la maid de camp I've ever come across.
Fanny and Johnny were a huge success. By the mid-1970s, Fanny had written well over 100 books. They'd both appeared in fashion magazines and published their own weekly cookery course.
You'll join us this week?
Television entertainment programs lapped them up.
My only memories of Fanny Cradock was her popping up periodically on the television.
It's Fanny Cradock.
Fanny Cradock.
Fanny Cradock.
Fanny Cradock, and of course, Johnny's there as well.
I saw that one where you shoved all those mushrooms up the chicken. My mother and I said that enchanted. It was that special one where you shoved them all up inside the skin.
On you go now.
Run the rolling pin all the way around the edge like this, and that cuts the pastry off. Now, this fulfills two functions. It means you get your beautiful mincemeat right up to the very edge of the pastry, and you don't have any of the hard doorsteps, which are so positively dangerous for people with forked teeth. Right, now that gets rid of that. It took you a long time.
And she had this sort of very haughty sort of presentation. And you just think, why would anybody watch this stuff? I mean, what is it in our sort of psyche that we need to be bullied by bossy women like Fanny Cradock?
Well, I am 2/3 French, and it's been a little slow up for the English.
You take this rolling pin, it has to be heavy enough to knock me out, and I've been knocked out hundreds of times in my life. In fact, when I go to the barber's now, if I haven't got a mark on my head, he says, what's the matter with the old woman? Is she ill?
She had that poor, bald idiot with the monocle who she used to order about. People enjoyed the cabaret of that relationship. Television is about entertainment, and Fanny understood that. She was very clever.
It's a bit terribly posh. And say, and well, what you must do is you must do this and you must do that, and we'll take this. And Johnny, no, don't mess about that, Johnny. Just show the people. And I kept thinking, oh, it's like a powerful headmistress.
Marks out of 5, Fanny? Johnny?
I'd say good 3.
I'd say 4. I'd say 4.
There was no doubt that she was an excellent cook, but she was doing groundbreaking stuff, and unfortunately, I think, allowed herself what so often happens to a television cook to be made an idiot of.
When Fanny was asked to take part in a programme called The Big Time in 1976, her mouth got the better of her. Gwen Trope, an ambitious amateur, had won a competition to create a banquet, and Fanny was asked for her opinion of the menu.
Right. Seafood cocktail. And then straight into the down.
What's really upsetting about it is that Fanny's quite wrong, and this poor woman's probably cooked something rather lovely. But in Fanny's world, which is a rather tiny, Francocentric world of cooking, where Escoffier is a god, what this woman's done is unacceptable, and boy does she go about telling her.
What is the sauce on the duck?
We have thought of a bramble. That's what I did.
What is a bramble?
Blackberry.
With duck?
That's what I did for the cook of the realm.
Yes, dear, but now you're among professionals.
She crucified the poor girl. She was so scathing and so horrible. What is a bramble? You know, she should have known perfectly well what a bramble was. And was just thoroughly nasty to her. And the reaction of the general public was such that it completely killed her career overnight.
I should leave that to you, Shay.
All along, she had this aura of being a very sort of outspoken woman. I think a real personality showed that night. That's, I think, what finished her, really.
Well, I'll tell you, my darling, that the English have never had a cuisine.
But surely...
There's nothing English. Yorkshire pudding came from Burgundy. Is la gougère bourguignon was the original Yorkshire pudding in the egg.
She realised later that she'd made a big mistake. It destroyed her popularity, and she was rarely seen cooking on television again. The Galloping Gourmet had also left the stage. With his doctor's encouragement, he fulfilled a lifelong dream to sail around the world and took the opportunity to spend time with his family. But it wasn't the end of his cooking career. Graham was about to make a discovery that would change all of their lives.
I hated sailing. That was another thing I did because I loved Graham, and it wasn't something I liked. I was scared all the time. Deep down.
I remember one specific story when we were in Palma de Mallorca and we had gone out, you know, call it a pig fest. We just went out and ate all this pork and barbecue and drank wine, and I mean, everybody on the crew and everybody in the family just kind of porked out.
It was as greasy as all get out. I remember rolling back my sleeves and rivulets of grease running out. We were laughing at it. Oh, isn't this wonderful? Swigging back very ice-cold Spanish champagne, you know, and we're all linked arms and rollicking back to the boat. So this next morning, we were all a bit queasy, but nonetheless, we were ready to go. And it was flat calm, it was lovely.
We hit a major storm. He had gotten extremely sick, not only seasick, but the food had hit him pretty hard. After that, we really started to evaluate now what we were going to eat and when we were going to eat it, because we never knew what the next day would bring as we were sailing. So nobody wanted to go through that kind of sickness again.